Hi, I'm Kim, and in this week's video I'm going to show you how to put a bobbin in, how to load a bobbin in a side loading machine. So if you've got a machine that you need to put a bobbin in and it's got all these funny contraptions and you have no idea how to load it, this tutorial is for you. So let me switch screens and let's get started straight away. So here we are. So this is a side loading machine, and when you first look at a side loading machine you're wondering where on earth the bobbin is. So the first thing you need to do is take off this accessory housing here. It just depends on your machine how they unclip, but generally they have some way of sliding off from the left hand side. Okay, so we're going to take that off. And by the way, if you are new to sewing, this bit here is now where you would sew if you've got anything circular like an armhole or you're a top of a bag or something like that. That's, you would take your accessory box off so that you could get round this bit here. So this machine is threaded up, and if I'm looking here, this is where my bobbin is going to be going. So I'm going to flip down this door and you can see it already reveals the little casing that my bobbin is going to go in. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit to show you. So you can see here that we've got this little casing. It's sitting in the bobbin housing, and you can see on the front here that it's got a little catch or a little door, and that's how we're going to release this bobbin case to come out. So I'm going to flip that and open that from the right to the left. It just opens up, it hinges, and I can use that to take my bobbin out. Sorry, I know that is behind my hand. I'm trying to show you and take it out. So I'm going to take that out. Now, before I go any further, and this is what I encourage you to do, is notice how this little bobbin case comes out of the cassette here, out of the where it fits into here. So look at your bobbin casing. Has it got a gap at the top? A lot of them do have a gap at the top, and I've got this little door going off to the right, so it opens from the right here. So if I can put it up to camera, you can see that that little door opens from the right. That gap is on the top. So notice that when you take it out of your machine for the first time, just notice how it comes out, because that'll help you when you put it back in again. Now, whilst it's out, let's have a quick look inside this sort of cassette underneath. I'll turn this machine upside down a little bit so that you can see. You can see here that I've got a little spindle in the middle, so that's where everything's going to clip onto. I don't need to worry too much about any of this, but the right hand side of my bobbin case will clip into that little hole there. And you may have, my machine doesn't, or this particular machine doesn't, you may have a little thing, a little pokey down metal bit at the top here that goes in that gap. So get to know your machine and get to know what's there, because it will help you put that bobbin case back in again. So let's pop that back down. Let's move it back a bit so you can see. So if I just show you back again, remember I said there was a little hole over on this right hand side. You can see there's a corresponding bit on the bobbin case that's going to clip into that hole. So get to know how this comes out. Bring it out slowly and just have a look at how it comes out so you remember how it goes back in again. But generally speaking, you've got a gap at the top and that's going to clip into place into that cassette place here. So how to get your bobbin into this holder here, this little bobbin casing here. So let's have a look at my bobbin. So the rule with all bobbins, if you watched any of my other videos, the rule with bobbins is that the thread is going to come out from the top and go off to the left. It's going to come from behind to the left, and the rule is no different now. So let me just pan this camera out because I do want to show you this to make sure that you can see. So if I turn my cassette case over, sorry, getting all my words mixed up. If you have a look at it, you will see you've got, there's the gap that we know is going to go off at 12 o'clock when it goes back in. If I have a look at the outside, you'll see that I've got a little slit on the side of my case here. Can you see that? And in front of there's a little bar that's screwed on. Generally, we don't need to worry about that bar, but there's a little screw there. So just so you know, if you need to adjust the tension of your bobbin, and generally you don't, but if you do, that's where you would adjust. Okay, you'd get a little screwdriver with your machine and you would adjust it there. But generally, we do not need to touch it. But we are looking for this little gap here, this little slit in the bobbin casing. And you're also looking for a little hole over on the right-hand side. Okay, so if you can see those two places there, that's what we're aiming for. So I'm going to hold this bobbin case with that little slit facing me towards the front. And I'm going to put my bobbin in with the thread coming out from behind. If I can show you, I need 3 hands to show this. I can balance it there. I got my thread coming out from behind with the thread going off to the left. All right. And with it in that position, I'm going to drop it into the bobbin case. All right. So the thread is coming out from behind to the left. And then I'm going to take this thread, I'm going to bring it round anti-clockwise. This is a rule for all bobbins. You're bringing it round anti-clockwise, bringing it round to the front, and I'm coming through that little split, that little slit at the front. Let me see if I can get closer in. All right, I'm bringing it round to the front, and then I'm going to bring that thread down through that gap. And now I need to swap hands to show you. So I'm going to hold the bobbin into place between finger and thumb. And then I'm going to stroke this thread along the top of that little bar towards that little hole. Remember we said there's a little hole to the right? That's the other thing you need to look for. I'm going to stroke that thread along the bar. I need to take the pressure off the top of the bobbin whilst I do this. Along the top of the bar and just bring it down to that hole. And you will see that if I do that, it falls into that hole automatically. So let me show you that again. All right, so my bobbin is thread coming out from behind to the left. I'm looking for that little slit in the front of my bobbin case, just above the bar. I'm dropping my bobbin in. I'm going to bring my thread round. I'm going to bring it down that little slit at the front. I'm just swapping hands so I can show you. I'm stroking that thread along the top of that bar, and as I stroke it along and down, it will come in to that little hole, hopefully. Okay. What I did there actually is just put my finger on top of the bobbin, because as you're pulling, you're obviously pulling the bobbin round. So just giving a little bit of pressure on the bobbin as you're giving it that final pull down will help you slot into place there. All right, so that's your bobbin in the cassette. Just be careful, in the case, just be careful how you hold this, because it is quite easy for the bobbin to fall out. If you want to know whether it's in there properly and whether the tension is correct, if you get that thread that's coming out of that little hole and just hold it, dangle it by the thread, there we go, little dangle test, then the tension is right on your bobbin case. Okay, if it all runs away with you and unthreads a bit like a yo-yo, I can't do yo-yos for love nor money. So normally I'm really good at unwinding the yo-yo, but I can't wind them back up again. So if you've got the yo-yo effect and it just unwinds, then you do need to tighten up that little screw there. So this is what we're aiming for. Generally, most of the time, your tension on your bobbin case will be absolutely perfectly fine. All right. So if that's all ready to go, I don't need to worry about that thread anymore. I need to worry about getting this case back into the housing over there. So do you remember we took note and we looked at where this gap was, and this gap at the top of the bobbin case was facing up to 12 o'clock. So that's how we need to put it back in again. And we've got our little door here, a little handle over to the right hand side. Don't open it now because that releases the bobbin and makes it fall out and you have to start again. So that little catch over on the right hand side is going into that little corresponding gap at 3 o'clock in my bobbin cassette here. You'll see you've got a little spindle in the middle here of your cassette, and you'll get a corresponding hole going through the middle of your bobbin and coming through the back of your bobbin case here. All right, make sure your thread is coming out. It's not knocking everything. Your thread doesn't get caught behind here. Whoops. So can you see how easy that is to fall out? It happens. So if it does, don't worry. We're just going to get it wound. Just get rid of that loose thread. I'm going to wind up that loose thread. You can't wind bobbins on by hand generally, but if it's just a couple of turns, you'll be fine. So it's good to show that again. So slit to the front. My bobbin thread is coming out from behind to the left. The thread is coming around anti-clockwise through the slit. Hold on to the bobbin at the top whilst I just pull that round and pull it through the hole. All right, hold on to the bobbin with a gap at the top, and sometimes you need 3 hands with sewing. This is one of those times, potentially, but I need to position that with that little spindle going through that hole in the middle. All right, and if it's all positioned correctly with that gap facing up to the top and anything that's going to slip over to catch on the right, if I press, you will hear a very definite click. That's what we're after. All right, so let me show you that again. So to release it, I'm bringing that door open and bringing it out. I don't need 2 hands to bring it out normally. It's just so that you can see. Okay, so I've brought it out. I've got the gap at the top. Make sure my thread's out the way. Position it over that little spindle in the middle and click it into place. All right, so this is out of the front. That's fine for now. Now my machine is threaded up already, so you need your machine threaded up. And if it's threaded up, then I'm going to hold on to my top thread, which is the cream thread here. And I'm doing that because I now need to use my top thread to pick up this bobbin thread before I can start to sew. And I'm going to do this by turning my hand wheel a full rotation, and you turn your hand wheel towards you. All right, so your hand wheel is always over on the right hand side of your machine. So let me get my camera and do a little bit of roving reporter. So just over on the right here, you can see there's my hand wheel, and I use that to turn it a full rotation towards me, and that moves my needle. So let's get that back in to position so that you can see. And let me zoom in a bit as well so you can see all the glorious action of what the thread's doing. Okay, and watch as I do this, because you'll see all sorts of loops and the thread appearing down here in front of the bobbin case. There's nothing to worry about. That's perfectly normal. So I'm going to hold on to this thread here and just move over a little. Just move over a little bit. There we go. So holding on to the thread, I'm taking my hand wheel. It's in my right hand. I know it's off camera, but trust me, I'm holding on to my hand wheel. I'm going to turn it a full rotation towards me. Remember, that is actually anti-clockwise again. So there's a lot of machines go anti-clockwise. I'm sure an engineer would tell me why it always goes anti-clockwise. I don't know the why. I just know that we need to put it anti-clockwise, and that's what I'm telling you. So watch my needle. So watch the needle here and watch what happens down here. So I'm going to do this slowly. So I just zoom in as far as I can get it. Can I move my camera in any further? All right, so we're good to go. You watching? I'm going to turn my needle. You see my needle going, and can you see what's happening underneath here is things are on the move. Can you see that? So the gap all the gaps will be moving. I'm moving that needle down. As it's coming down, it's doing a full rotation. Can you see this cassette is coming a full rotation. The needle is coming back up again. I want to make sure the needle is in the uppermost position. Now, can you see what's happening to the purple thread? I've got cream thread here and purple thread. The cream is now picking up that purple thread. I still want to hold on. And as I bring it up, I've now got my needle in the uppermost position. All right. So can you see now my top thread, my cream thread has disappeared down below the feed dogs. And I've got my purple thread here. I can tell you what's happened is that it's caught the purple thread, my bobbin thread. But now what I want to do is gently pull this top cream thread. So if I gently pull, watch what happens underneath my presser foot. You will see that the purple thread comes up again. Maybe I should have chosen some luminous bright orange thread so that you could see. But that purple thread has now come up underneath my presser foot. If I point at it, you probably just see. But if I put the pointy bit of my seam ripper in, there's a loop that comes up and I can just pull that loop. Can you see now? This loop is appearing and the thread is disappearing from underneath. Okay. And that's all I need to do to pull my bottom thread up. And I'm going to put those threads round to the back so they're underneath the presser foot and they're going out to the back. I can close this little door up, put my accessory holder back into place. Make sure that nothing's got caught up because it does. Just get that unhooked or uncaught. And then you're good to go and you are ready to sew. So hope that has been helpful. Please do like and subscribe if it has been, because it really helps my videos to reach other beginners who are just like you, who need some help. And you know how confounding this can be if you've got a side loading bobbin and you've got no idea how to load it or how to pull that thread up. So hope that's been helpful and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.